Boom! Where are they? I just saw them. Hello? Boom!
Last May, I helped make Young Harris school history. I stood on the softball field at Lincoln Memorial University, holding up a trophy for the Southeast Regional Championship with 22 of my teammates. As elated as I was at this accomplishment, I was also horrified because this meant we were going to Denver, Colorado for the national championship. And that meant that I was faced with a choice that none of my teammates or coaches knew about. See, a year earlier, I had committed to going to South Africa for 3 months. And when I made those plans, I envisioned having at least a week or two to get back after my season was over and pack and do all these things that I needed to before my trip. But things rarely go the way that we planned, and I ended up on the softball field up until the day before my flight left for Johannesburg. Fast forward now, and I can tell you everything worked out perfectly. My team had the most successful season in school history, and through cooperation with my coach, teammates, athletic director, and the NCAA, I left nationals early to catch my flight to Johannesburg. And I spent the most 3 impactful months of my life volunteering at TLC Children's Home in Johannesburg, South Africa. It impacted me so much I'm still talking about it, and I invite you to begin your own journey with TLC through this presentation and hopefully beyond it. So who is TLC? TLC Children's Home, which stands for the Love of Christ Children's Home, is located in Johannesburg, South Africa. They provide full-time care to around 35 kids at a time, and that includes waking them up, changing their diapers, playing games with them, feeding them, cleaning, everything that a parent would do. One of the most difficult parts of providing this thorough 24-hour-a-day care is night shift, which all of the volunteers share the responsibility of. And night shift includes staying up all night, taking care of 35 kids, making sure that they sleep well and have everything that they need, while trying to complete a long list of chores like cleaning and preparing for the next day. And it's so exhausting because parents, you know that if you have a child who doesn't sleep well, it can really take a toll on you. So when you put 35 kids together, there's a really high likelihood that at least 1 or 2, sometimes 5 or 6 are not going to sleep well. So trying to keep them quiet so they don't wake up their 34 brothers and sisters is so challenging. The kids at TLC all have different stories. Some of them, their parents couldn't take care of them because of an addiction or financial reasons. Some of them were the product of unwanted sexual relations, so their moms gave them up. Others were just abandoned, and so we don't exactly know the situation. Something I learned while I was there that really increased my respect for the organization is that some children, due to legal reasons, are far more easily adoptable than others, but TLC doesn't shy away from those difficult cases. What TLC does is so important because there are so many babies who need their help. In the country of South Africa alone, there are 3.5 million orphans. That's 7 times the population of Atlanta. Here are a couple more stats to put what TLC does and who they are into perspective. Since opening doors in 1993, the founder, Thea Jarvis, has adopted 19 children. This woman has impacted not only the children she's adopted, but also the children who have been adopted from TLC and people like you and me who can look at her story and be moved by what she's done and inspired to do something with our own lives to give back. This is a family portrait of the Jarvis family. And while it may not be conventional by any standard, this is what TLC is all about. Loving people who are different than us, giving people second chances, having compassion on one another. This is truly who TLC is and who Thea Jarvis is. This wonderful organization that Thea founded not only meets children's emotional needs, but also their physical needs. And as you can imagine, 35 kids go through a lot of supplies. So at TLC, they use 160 pounds of baby formula every month. And 920 babies have called TLC home since they opened in 1993. TLC has been a safe haven for these babies until they can find their new mommy and daddy or be reunited with their birth family. These stats show the significant impact that TLC has had on so many babies over the years. I got to work with 35 of these 920 kids. I spent countless hours with them, playing with them, singing with them, cleaning up after them, teaching them, putting them down for naps, waking them up, cleaning up after them again. And when I left, they were like family. It was really difficult to leave. I'll remember them forever, even if they were too young to remember me.
E-I-E-I-O. Yummy, 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 yummy. Can you squeeze me? Squeeze. Squeeze.
One little boy who I will never forget, and I want you to meet, is Simon. He was dropped off with his two sisters. They're triplets. Now Simon didn't sleep very well that first night, but slowly he began to adjust to life at TLC. Simon is now 2 years old, and he's so happy and healthy. As you can see in this video, he really enjoys being helpful. He's quite the little gentleman. He also loves helping his caretakers, whether it's opening a door, holding something, anything where he can be helpful. He really enjoys being around his sisters, and when they're upset, he's upset. He'll run over and hug them or hold their hand until they stop crying. But Simon also enjoys being mischievous. One morning I was waking the kids up, and they all sleep in a big room with a bunch of cribs in it, so it's close quarters. I grabbed him and put him on the ground, and then I turned around to grab another child. I looked back and Simon had walked over to his sister's crib, reached in there and started tickling her to wake her up, and he was hysterically laughing the whole time, but she was not pleased. Like all the kids at TLC, Simon has never met a stranger. I was captivated by his sweet, goofy personality, and he extended his hand and welcomed me into the TLC family. He was one of my hardest goodbyes.
Can I have a hug? Can I have a hug?
I want you to.
Good job, buddy.
Now I'd love for you to meet another friend. His name is Matthew. Matthew was adopted from TLC when he was about Simon's age. I've had the privilege of watching him grow up in the US, as his family is really close to mine. When Matthew first arrived here, he had the sweetest, cutest, most raspiest voice with a twinge of a South African accent. He adjusted extremely well to his life with his new family. Not long after he arrived, his new brother told his mom, "Matthew is the best thing that we ever did." He's now an irreplaceable part of his family. I spoke to his mom recently and she told me, people often say, "Wow, you really changed his life." But they got it all wrong. She said, "He's changed our life far more than we've changed his." Although Matthew has now spent the majority of his life in the US, you can still see evidence of his time at TLC. He grew up with dozens of kids of various races, abilities, and backgrounds. And because of that, today he doesn't see color, differences, or disabilities. He sees people. This gift Matthew has was undoubtedly fostered by his time at TLC, where the caretakers give kids unconditional love regardless of their backgrounds or needs. During my time volunteering at TLC, Matthew and his family came to visit, and he partook in a wonderful tradition where children who were adopted from TLC come back and plant a tree on the property. Matthew planted a South African pepper tree as a symbol of his time at TLC, something to grow with him in this new season of his life. The mission of TLC is that every child, including Simon, will have a tree to plant one day. 920 have been through so far, but there's still a lot of work to do. When I left, I decided that that was not going to be the end of my story with TLC. I still wanted to help. See, TLC has a wonderful cause, but they lack the resources to remain a stable operation. The purpose of this project is to spread awareness in the US and make it really easy for people to help. This is a really big task, and there's a lot of elements that go into it. Graphic design, marketing, business, communication, all elements of branding. So what the heck is branding? My definition of branding is distinguishable colors, fonts, features, symbols, and style that set a company apart from the rest. Think of Nike, for example. If you were to see any of these elements by themselves, you would know instantly that they're from Nike. This is because Nike has such distinguishable branding. The elements like the swoosh, the color of the shoebox, and the font of Just Do It are all easily recognizable as Nike's brand. I wanted this ad campaign to reflect the existing brand of TLC. These are the various logos and branding elements that TLC already has. I wanted my ad campaign to go cohesively with TLC's existing brand elements. These are the brand elements that I compiled for this ad campaign. I took colors from the existing TLC logo and drew some shapes and chose fonts that would complement their existing brand. I wanted them to be childlike and playful, yet at the same time modern and sophisticated. I used this brand I created to make an ad campaign for TLC, and I made media like calendars, postcards, business cards, posters, all of which you can see in my portfolio. And the central idea for this ad campaign and this project in general is to let people know that there are 5 ways you can help TLC. The first way you can help is through volunteering. This is the lifeblood of the organization, and it's near and dear to my heart. As a volunteer, you have the opportunity to make a difference in a tangible way. You create bonds with the kids and help them in their emotional development by showing them that there are people who love them and will take care of them. Volunteers commit to 3-month to 1-year stays. And this 3-month minimum may seem like a long time, but it's really just to protect the kids emotionally. Because all of these kids were abandoned in some way, TLC wants to make sure that they don't constantly have people in and out of their lives every couple weeks. While many of their responsibilities are routine, like cleaning, bathing, feeding, you also get to engage in extra special activities with the kids. Volunteers are permitted to take the kids on one-on-one outings, which was my favorite part of my experience. I took as many kids as I could to the mall. I had a blast watching the kids get elated over the smallest things, whether it be riding in the shopping cart, or the trolley as they called it, or just picking out a little toy or a treat. The most popular treat was definitely an ice cream cone, which, as you can see, seems they enjoyed wearing just as much as they enjoyed eating. What makes these trips so special is that all of these kids are used to sharing everything. So as soon as they get just a second of undivided attention where they get to be the only child in the room, it just means the world to them. Maybe you're unable to volunteer at TLC, but I bet you know somebody who might be interested. It's a wonderful opportunity for students on a summer break or students taking a gap year, or maybe somebody in a transitional phase and they want to maybe take a few months off of work. So if you know somebody who might be interested, a guy or a girl, please send them this link. The second way you can help TLC is through a one-time donation. The government in South Africa only covers a small percentage of TLC's costs, so they primarily survive off of donations. Think about how much it costs to take care of your family. Now imagine there are 35 kids to support. Between grocery bills, doctor bills, power bills, mortgage, water bills, TLC's expenses are extremely high. The dollar goes a really long way in South Africa, so please consider making TLC one of the organizations that you donate to. There's more information on their website. The third way you can help TLC is by committing to becoming a monthly sponsor. As I mentioned, the US dollar goes a long way in South Africa, and TLC's Adopt a Cot program proves that. TLC asks people to commit to donating 100 Rand or 10 pounds, or in our case, $10 per month, to ensure that they can buy necessities like formula, groceries, gasoline, and diapers. When you become an Adopt a Cot sponsor, TLC sends you monthly updates of a child at TLC, so you get to know one of the little ones that you're helping. The fourth way you can help TLC is through adoption. And of course, I understand that not many people are looking to adopt children, but for those of you who are, or maybe you know somebody who is, you will not find a better organization to adopt from than TLC. When they fall down, there's somebody to hold them until they stop crying. When they climb to the top of the playground by themselves, there's somebody to cheer for them. This emotional support instills in them the capacity to bond with their new parents whenever they're adopted. The leaders of this organization have no intention to get rich. They've responded to a higher call to fight until every child has a home and a mommy and daddy. So if you or somebody you know is considering adoption, point them in TLC's direction. Now maybe you've looked at the previous 4 ways to help, and you've realized that none of them are feasible for you. Then I would encourage you to do the 5th one, advocate. The purpose of this project is that more people would know about TLC when it's done. Please help me get the word out about TLC, even if that's just sharing the link to this video with 5 friends, because the more people that help, the quicker each child at TLC can go from Simon's situation to Matthew. The quicker each child can plant their tree at TLC, and the quicker they can find a mommy and daddy. I know many of you are probably thinking, I would love to help this cause, but this just isn't the right time. Maybe you're waiting until your schedule frees up or you have a little bit more money in your bank account. But let me tell you, the perfect time does not exist. There's no perfect time to do anything worth doing. Remember, I was on the softball field up until the day before I left for Johannesburg. I flew home and packed in less than 12 hours. It was not the right time for me to go to South Africa, but I took a leap of faith and trusted that everything would work out. And it did. When the Lord wills for something to happen, He'll make a way where there is no way. So don't wait for the right time anymore. You can look around and realize that we're not promised tomorrow. See how quickly our world has changed with COVID-19. If you need to help TLC in any way, this is the right time.